Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Crazy Simple. I am your co-host, Dr. Christopher Taylor.
And I am Lori Vann.
And welcome to the week before Feast Week. What do you do at Thanksgiving, Lori? Do you go into a turkey coma, or do you eat healthy?
It's a little bit of a mix. I do actually put vegetables on the platter. Now, how the vegetables are prepared, that may not be in the healthiest manner, but there's a variety of things on the platter. But I get my obligatory turkey on there. I'm more of the dessert person. I am grateful for desserts.
Yeah, I'm more of a let's see how many deviled eggs I can eat kind of person before anybody else is allowed to touch the deviled eggs tray, because that's like my favorite. So I'll like sneak them in before we get to the house with the deviled eggs. I'll even bring, like, even though I'm not supposed to bring deviled eggs, I'll bring extra deviled eggs just to make sure. And, I'm not really a huge turkey fan. This goes back to some of my childhood trauma when I walked in on my mom stuffing a turkey in the kitchen, which was just gross. And so for a long time, like, I would not eat turkey. I'll eat it now, but it's really still not my favorite. So I'm much more of like a honey glazed ham kind of guy. So I love to just pour honey all over the ham and just eat that mostly with deviled eggs.
Yeah, are you slipping the deviled eggs into your pocket for later, just in case?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I'll put like plastic bags in my pocket so I could just no, that would be crazy. No, but I do like a good turkey sandwich though on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. So
that definitely can work. Yeah, having leftovers for the next several days. It's economic goal. I mean, it's save money.
Yeah. So next week is Feast Week. You should definitely join us for our awesome episode next week on gratitude and thankfulness, because we seem to go from what'd you call it, Lori? From give me candy to give me presents. We kind of forget about what we're grateful for.
Yes, with the retail world, and I'm not faulting retail because I have over 10 years of retail experience, so I get it. I come from a retail family. I've got it in my blood, but it just made me wonder if, like, we go from this commercialism of Halloween, which is the second biggest holiday for decorating and spending and stuff, skip over Thanksgiving altogether, and then we jump into Christmas, and just psychologically, what is that really doing to us?
Yeah, so we're going to get into that next week, so please join us there. In the meantime, though, some interesting news just came out of the American Counseling Association. I don't know, you'll probably believe this, Lori, but maybe our listeners won't. An article, or a study rather, was just published last month, in fact, in October, that says that despite having technology that helps us stay connected, I use the air quotes, people are feeling more disconnected than ever. In fact, the U.S. Surgeon General says loneliness, which affects about half of U.S. adults, half. So probably nobody in Texas, but the rest of the country is dealing with it, is a public health epidemic. The U.S. Surgeon General just called loneliness a U.S. public health epidemic. So I don't know, thoughts on that?
Surprised at the 50% part. I knew it'd be high. I wasn't quite expecting half of the country, but we are a more detached society. I mean, it's the great irony with technology is we're technically more connected. We're more easily accessible than at any other point in history, but we're emotionally more disconnected than ever from actual real person-to-person contact. We're very connected with the device itself, but I don't know if you've seen it in practicing, but things like social anxiety really have ramped up over the decade plus since we've made this technological shift.
Absolutely. And what gets me is this whole like connected to the device thing that you just mentioned. There was the Brussels Times released this article last year that said, this news article last year that said we interact with our smartphones on average 2,600 times per day. Right? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
2,600 times per day. I mean, that seems bananas to me. Bananas to me. So, what's the crazy simple solution? No more phones. We just get
Well,
rid of phones.
that would be on the crazy side of the equation. I'm not sure about the simple
Would be
part,
a little bit.
but
Would be a little bit.
maybe something in the middle there of that we maybe put timers on our technology, and maybe we create some kind of basket that when you're seated at dinner with your family or friends that you put your phones in it, so there's less of that distraction of needing to go grab and look at. Which, just as a note, when you're sitting at dinner with someone and your head is down, that's rather disrespectful. Now, it's one thing if you're looking something up, like, oh, there's a date and I need to tell you about this, but most people aren't doing that. And again, I think it goes to, we don't know how to socialize anymore, so maybe we need to like go old school.
Yeah. So, what do you think it is about is it the over connectivity that we have that we now take it for granted, and so we're no longer intentional with the relationships?
I think there's an aspect of that. I thought that there's an interesting, it was short term shift when COVID hit and we were all locked in and we only had screens to talk to. And
Hmm.
so there's a small little period of time after we got out of lockdown, and obviously some parts of the country more adversely affected by it than others, that we had this appreciation of like humans. Oh my gosh, they're right in front of me, can touch them and share their space. And I was really hoping it would last much longer than what it actually did.
Yeah. I know. It was sad. So loneliness is a problem. If you are struggling with loneliness, what should you do? What do you think, Lori?
Well, one, I think it's a step back and you got to assess what are the decisions you're making in your daily life that are either contributing to it or maybe helping you move on the path to not being as lonely. And if you are touching your screen or whatever technology, 2000 plus times a day, I would say that would be the first part of changing your habits,
Mm,
and would encourage individuals to really set those timers on their technology. And if they go, well, I'm new to this city, I just moved here, or I'm quiet, I'm shy, I'm introvert, I don't know how to make friends, then one, I mean, maybe that's where counseling or talking to a coach can help you with some of those social skills. But
mhm.
we are in the time of year where you can volunteer. Like, it's the most awesome way to get to meet people and get warm fuzzies and give back to the community.
I think that's great. One of the things that I'm trying to do right now, and haven't really like rolled this plan out yet. I'm still kind of baking it. But I want to try to not interact with my phone for the first. Well, no, not forever. Not for. I did try that. It crashed and burned terribly. But for the first 2 hours of my day and the last 2 hours of my day. So basically from like 8 to 8, right? Like, so phone time from 8 to 8, after 8, no phone, before 8, no phone. Assuming that I'm not like out at dinner or something, right? Like 8 o'clock, I throw my phone across the restaurant, no more phone. But when practical, just not grab my phone the first thing I do in the morning. Maybe if possible, not even have it in my room. That would be nice. But And then for the last couple hours, like just not touch it. Like what email or text message or tweet or phone call am I going to get after 8 o'clock that needs my attention? You know? Um, Now, yeah, I mean, there's the whole like, well, what if my kid is having an emergency, that kind of stuff. I mean, my kid's 6, so if they're having an emergency right now, like that's a problem because like, why are they not home? Like, why are they out wandering the street? But you might have a teenager, and so that might be a little bit more of a challenge for you, or maybe you have a sick mom or something like that. So I don't know, maybe we get those two-way pagers, and you can just say, page me. I don't know, or maybe there's some setting in your phone where you can put it on the other side of the room, and if there's an emergency, it can alert you or something. But I don't know. That's an idea I've been kind of messing around with. What do you think, Lori?
No, I like that, and I am not technologically savvy, but it would be great if there were a setting that for people you list in your phone as the really really important contacts, that their messages get through or their phone calls get through, but everyone else is silenced
I
during
think
a
there,
certain
I think
block
there
of
is.
time.
I think there is a way to do that. I'm not really sure. If you're like, I don't know, like 15 and you're listening to this and you know how to use an iPhone, just let us know what the settings are, please.
Or,
No, I'm
or
kidding.
Android.
Yeah, or Android. Yeah, sorry. I know Lori likes Android. I'm an iPhone guy, so sorry. But yeah, I think there are settings for that in point of fact, so that'd be good. So that's kind of the technology side of it. So I like this idea of boundaries with technology, a cognitive sort of reset of like how we're going to approach technology, rethinking our relationship with this tool, rethinking the tool's purpose, and then what it's doing with us. But what I really think has happened is we, over the last several decades, that technology has kind of been on the rise, have slowly lost the ability to have, interpersonal conflict, intrapersonal conflict. We've slowly kind of, it's too easy to ghost, right? Like it's too easy just
Mm-hmm.
to block a number now and just not respond. And that we've started to gravitate towards technology as this kind of like just this duvet, right? This like warm blanket that's just fine. It's going to take care of us. But because of that, we've stopped being intentional with how we interact with people because everybody is conveniently available 24/7. So we no longer like I would like, when is the last time that you texted somebody just to say, hey, I appreciate you and your friendship?
Mm.
You know?
I think it goes to some common courtesies too. That I think technology is a piece, but just as a whole, I mean, over the last several decades, we've really lost common courtesies, how to be polite, how to be respectful. I mean, I go to the gym and I realize there are some people that are just sort of inconsiderate individuals. Whether they leave the chair super sweaty or whether they, on one of the machines, they leave it with like 300 pounds of weights on it. And it's like, okay, well, what if the next person after you can't even lift those weights to get it off the machine? You just ruined it for them. Or like on social media, of how often do people pose a question and someone really puts a heartfelt answer into it, and then that person never even acknowledges their comment. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. It's just, thank you for your response. I mean, it's just, I think maybe we go back, and a simple solution is we go back to etiquette classes. They used to have those social graces. It's time for them to return.
Yeah, no, I agree. I had to take one of those in college. It was a lot of fun. Um, so I think this holiday season, I am going to challenge myself, and if you'd like to join me, I'd love to learn about your experience. So please send us, an email or engage with us on one of the social medias. The social medias. But my two challenges are going to be very simple. One, it's going to be this technology challenge to not engage with my phone the first 2 hours of the day and the last 2 hours of the day. And I've actually bought, I'm going to buy as soon as we're done here, a 7th generation iPod off Electronic Bay. Let's Actually, it's Echo Bay is apparently what it means, but Echo Bay. eBay, so that it has no Wi-Fi and just has music on it, so I can listen to music in the morning because I like to do that. And then the last 2 hours of the day as well, I'm just like going to put my phone away and just not touch it. So, and then the second thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to be more intentional with my relationships through the holidays. So my in-laws, cousins, just people that I usually don't see throughout the year. I'm going to just, try to be more intentional with them and, and friends and other people. And, hopefully there will be one less lonely person out there. So.
No, I think that's great. And you're actually going along with research that says that, if you want to be more productive, you don't pick up your phone first thing in the morning. It can totally derail your productivity for the rest of the day. And in the evening, we know that when we look at our phones, especially at least an hour before bed, it can mess up our sleep patterns. So, yeah, you are absolutely onto something there. My goals are definitely, I need to look at the phone less, to be less responsive to it. Some of my happiest times are when I leave it in another room and I go for hours not looking at it and just totally disconnecting. And that's definitely a goal where during Thanksgiving, because like my family is going to be, my immediate family will be there with me. So, I mean, who else is really going to contact me on Thanksgiving Day that I really need to speak with?
Yeah, right.
So it's like phone's going to be in the purse and I'm going to be in another room, and that's just how it's going to be. And definitely, I think, yeah, really being more cognizant of what I'm saying and how I'm responding, and making sure that I'm really being present, that each and every moment to be present. 'Cause you never know when someone's not going to be there at the next Thanksgiving.
Exactly. No, I think that's exactly right. We don't really know, what the future is going to hold. All we have is today. So let's do the best we can with today. So right now, my phone says my daily average is 3 hours and 5 minutes a day. That's my daily phone activity usage. It goes up if I'm in the office, obviously. So my goal is going to be to reduce that over the next 2 weeks. So we'll see what that looks like, and we'll check back in, or over the next 2 months. So we'll check back in January and see where we are. But if you are struggling with any type of loneliness this holiday season, I know it can be very difficult, and we'll talk more about that next week. So please come back, join us next week as we talk more about struggling during the holidays and how gratitude and thankfulness can help you during that dark time. This is Crazy Simple. I am your co-host, Dr. Christopher Taylor.
And I am Lori Vann.
And Lori made it, even though we have bad internet. Great. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.